Late means we'll be a minute later getting out. We on? Okay, I'll go ahead and welcome everybody to our, what is today, November 19 City Council meeting. Appreciate everybody coming out and joining us. We were just talking before we started, this is the first night meeting we've had in a while because of daylight savings time. We were always meeting in the daytime, even at 6 and 7 and 8 o'clock. But feels like bedtime now. Okay, I've made enough comments that don't amount to nothing. But if you'll bow with me, we'll have a word of prayer and then we'll continue. Our Father in heaven, we're thankful for yet another day of life and the opportunity to gather here. We pray a blessing on everyone that's participating here tonight. We pray a blessing continual on this community as you blessed us so well. We thank you for that. We ask that you be with us tonight as we have some decisions to make that give us wisdom to make the right decisions and to proceed on with what hopefully will be in the best interest of this community and its people. We ask now that you go with us and forgive us our sins. Amen. Okay, got a set of minutes from October, I better put these on. October 15, y'all had a chance to look at them?
I'll make a motion to approve them.
Second motion.
All right, any discussion on the minutes? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? I didn't say it, but I voted aye too, so it's unanimous. Okay, we have some special guests tonight that we'll take up first two items of business before we get into other things, but we have Melanie Mentor from the Lebanon Wilson County Chamber of Commerce and Stephanie Hollis. Okay. How you want to do this? You want to come up front and me read it to you? Okay. All right. You want to, she brought a camera. And you go to the war song. Hold up here before we get on the microphone here. You want to tell them what we're doing? Or you want me to tell them?
Well, he's going to read it to you, but our chamber is 100 years old this year, and we service all of Wilson County, and it's a privilege for us to be here tonight with Mayor Jennings for him to read the state resolution proclamation.
And we're glad to have you here, all joking aside. We all know each other, so we appreciate you being here. You find out all the roads over the Watertown. You can always compare them anyway. Okay, the resolution of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the City of Watertown, Tennessee, celebrating the Lebanon Wilson County Chamber of Commerce's 100th year. Whereas the Lebanon Wilson County Chamber of Commerce was chartered in September 1924 by a group of businessmen that wanted to form an organization to work for the betterment of their community. And whereas beginning with 60 members and 7 board members, the early issues were better roads, better schools, toll roads and bridges, and growth in economic development. And outside of toll roads, nothing much has changed. Whereas the Chamber's mission is to coordinate the talents and energies of business, industry, and individuals to make Wilson County a better place to live, work, and raise a family. And whereas the Chamber's vision is to foster an environment in which a unified Wilson County can realize a prosperous future. And whereas the Chamber has grown tremendously through the years under the direction of 100 presidents, chairman of the board, up to 21 board members, and 5 staff members. I want to stop right here and ask, were you president of the Chamber one time? I thought you were. And whereas operating under the following divisions with designated vice chairpersons, membership engagement, ambassadors, special events, education, economic development, sports council, government relations, and additional programs of work. And whereas the Lebanon Wilson County Chamber of Commerce serves and represents the interests of over 1,600 businesses of all sizes, providing the resources and tools needed to maximize your business success. So you went from 60 to 1,600. Wow. And whereas the chamber exists to serve its members and the community, including welcoming tourists and new members to Wilson County, including Lebanon, Mount Fury, and Watertown. And whereas the chamber identifies public issues to avoid purely partisan political issues. That's really more. And whereas the chamber helps to create job opportunities through the stimulation of county industrial and commercial growth. Look at all over your way. And whereas the chamber has the honor of presenting awards, acknowledging new business development, and presenting dignitaries to the county. And whereas the chamber encourages the improvement of community facilities and the development of human resources. And whereas the chamber is the community mailroom, communicating business and community information, including Lebanon, Mount Fury, and Watertown. Wish I had thought about it. I had Watertown listed first. And whereas the chamber provides members with significant promotional services and tools, which are valuable for local businesses and extremely advantageous for home-based businesses. And whereas the Chamber of Commerce remains the most trusted source of information on local businesses and services and the most dependable ally in commerce. And whereas the Chamber exists to serve its members and the public countywide. And whereas the 2024 Lebanon Wilson County Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors and staff are J. Rob Coggins, 100th Chairman of the Board, Ian Isbell, Greg Butler, Matt Cratchit, Bob Ziegler, Philip Vance, Dr. Mark Hanshaw, Scott McCarver, Becky Kegler, Lynn Williams, Corey McDonald, Kenny Salas, Matthew Ryan, James Newell, James Danella, Christine New, Brandon Wagner, DJ Woods, Debbie Lowe, Wes Dugan, Melody Mentor, President and CEO, Andrew Wilkie, Vice President, Membership and Finance, Sarah Ferry, Marketing and Communications, and Stephanie Hollis, Support Administrator. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Mayor and Alderman of the City of Watertown, Tennessee, that we congratulate the Lebanon and Wilson County Chamber of Commerce on the anniversary of their 100th year and wish them many more successful years. And we do. I need somebody to make a motion and second to approve this.
I make the motion.
I'll
to
second.
accept.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you saying that. You're welcome.
Your service means a lot
Happy
as
birthday.
city council, and then also all the things that you do for Watertown. We appreciate all the service. So, we need to, thank you.
Good to hear everything about it.
Um,
I've been kind of following that.
Yes,
Facebook.
yes, yes, sir.
Stephanie, you must be a good photographer.
I'll make you look at it.
Your camera's not smoking, so apparently it held up pretty well.
Thank you all. Thanks.
All right. Now, we've got one of the former presidents of the chamber here, who is also claims that he is going to retire as our city judge. So I'm going to call on the Honorable Bob Lee to address us. Do you need us to all rise? Okay.
Not this time. Mayor, City Council, I asked Mike if I could say a few words, and he made me promise to keep it under an hour, so I'll try to be brief. I don't really remember when, but roughly 1990. Mike came to me and asked me if I'd serve as your city judge. I don't think either one of us ever contemplated that it would, some 30 years later, we'd still be here. But here we are. And all good things need to come to an end. My roots with Watertown go much further back than this last 30 years. My great-grandmother, Sally Neal Smith, lived on Neal Road, and I remember many times coming to the farm and running through the fields and the forest, picking eggs out of the hen house and so forth. My mother graduated from Watertown High School back in the 40s. Scott Walker, who owns Action Restoration, is my son-in-law. So I've got a lot of connections in Watertown. But anyway, I wanted to thank you. It's been an honor to serve your city over these many years. It's been far more public service than it has been financial, but it's been fun. You've got a good police department, in my opinion. It seems to be running well. Chief Interlight seems to be doing a good job. We've got things in order. I think there's a lot to be proud of here. It's been my honor to serve as your judge, but it's time for me to end and pass the torch on to a new generation.
It's not too late to change your mind.
I got to go. 2 weeks, I'm headed to Florida.
Oh, yeah, we can't compete with that.
No. So, thank you all. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, hang on just a second. Bob Lee has done an extraordinary job for us. And besides that, I want to take a little personal thing. Bob and I have been friends for many, many years. And when I went to him, I thought he'd do this for 2 or 3 years, and I thought I'd do it for 2 or 3 years, and here we are. And I'm very proud of you for staying with us. I think back, Jerry Hunt was our judge.
Yep.
And Jerry gave it up, and you took it over. And one of the things, I remember that now about your mom being a graduate of Watertown High School, but one of the first things I remember when I ran for office was your dad. He owns the property, he and your mom owns the property on Richland Avenue, and he told me, he said, I voted for you. And every time I ran, he would never cease to tell me that, I voted for you. And I always appreciate his dad, and appreciate Bob. His brother's gonna help us here, close on the deal here in the industrial park in a few days, and then I grew up and worked with, Bob has a deceased brother, but I worked at Kroger with him. So, known his family a long time and appreciate the commitment he made to our community. We've been very fortunate to have him, and now he's gonna, I don't know if the sun sets in Florida or not, but he's gonna ride off into the sunset. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Well, we'll go now to public business. I hope everybody understood why I needed to take those up first. And I really hate to see Bob Lee go. Bob was also our city attorney for a while, wasn't he, April?
Yes.
And then he decided it was kind of a conflict to do both. So he took over, he stayed with the judgeship, and we did another attorney. So, anybody here tonight on public business want to talk to us about anything?
Real quick about money?
You what? You want to talk about money? You bringing us some?
No.
Oh, okay.
I wish,
Donations only.
yeah. As far as bathrooms and the attic floor, to do it right or up to code or whatever, it's about $20,000 per bathroom, roughly. We found a gentleman who works for ATF, I think it is, that he said he could go in there and just tear up the section that's bad and fix that section for now, because like a Band-Aid, but make it safe. And his quote was $4,000 for the men's bathroom. So I think I'm gonna probably go with him. And we got the sign done out there, and we're getting donations for that too, so we're good.
Okay.
All right.
You're not asking for any money?
I'm just telling you, look.
I like the way you think. I like the way you think. That's good. Appreciate the effort y'all made during the election too. I know y'all kind of tag team, y'all tag in and out each day.
Yeah.
Alternate, but good to see home folks when you came in here to vote, so. Anybody else? Okay, we'll move on. I think Chief Hans, he here? Yeah, he's up first tonight on, for his fire report.
Good evening.
Last month, we had 23 calls in the city and 19 in the county for a total of 42. I had it down there at the bottom, just kind of doing some figuring up and trying to add some different things with some of our software, but our response time from dispatch to being on scene in the city was an average of 4.5 minutes for all of our calls in the city. So the national standard for that for fire departments is 5 minutes. So keeping an average of under the national standard, I feel like that's something that's pretty good. Wanted to pass that on to you guys. Outside of that, just a little bit of progress. They've been doing some work over here for the county's engine. I would suspect about 3 or 4 more weeks of that. Talking to Cody, the gentleman that's working, so maybe around Christmas or before, we might see some something on that. But
I've had a lot of things run through my mind the last 2 days, so please excuse my forgetfulness. But you sent me an email just a few days ago about some very good work.
Yes, sir.
Fire department. And everybody may know, but if you don't mind sharing it.
Absolutely. Sunday, we had an unusually busy day here. Typically, our average stays, this month it's 3.5 or 1.35 calls per day, but usually we're in the 2 call per day average. Sunday, we had a pretty busy day. We ran 9 calls, and 6 of those were in the city. Now, for some, that might not be a busy day, but for here, it's something that's unusual for us. And a couple of these firefighters that's with me tonight, they were responding on a lot of those, did a fantastic job handling everything. About midway through the day, I got a call from the 911 office, and there was an issue countywide with the radios in their dispatch center. They called me and said, hey, we've got a wreck that we need to give out to you guys. And so due to some of our radios and our capabilities here, we was able to page that out in-house, run the dispatch in-house for that until they got up to running. So being able to take some of those hits and keep on going was something that I was proud of the department, and these guys do a good job. And so I wanted to pass that along to the mayor. And
Was that the Trammell Road?
yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I saw the equipment up there. Look, you guys handled it very well.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're doing a good job, not just that day, but every day. That was an extraordinary day for calls.
It was.
You already mentioned a couple of people with you. Why don't you share who that is with you?
This is Mr. Braden Hicks here and Miss Miranda Allen.
Okay. Appreciate it. Oh, be careful. Appreciate what y'all do. And anybody have any questions of the chief? I do have one request, very easy request. Sometime over the next few days or weeks, put together a list of anything you consider surplus that we need to put on out for auction, and let's get rid of some of the things that we're not using.
Yes, sir.
So if you, and I'm gonna make that same request of Chief Penderlight and Dale Smith as well, and Bob Moore.
Okay.
And I regret that I didn't make this request 2 months ago, because the county has a surplus auction sale day after tomorrow, and we could have been a part of that. And I just didn't think about it, and I apologize for that.
I had one item anyway, so that works out good.
Okay, good. Anybody comments, questions? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, who's next up? Dale Smith would be. Dale's not here. Oh, there he is. When'd you come in? I didn't see you come in.
We did get the sampler unit that we purchased last month. It came in, and I haven't installed it yet. I hope to do that tomorrow if it's not pouring down rain. Beyond that, I don't really have anything for you this meeting.
Any questions, comments from Dale? Got a lot going on in his department, but we'll talk more about that as we go. Not Dale's responsibilities, but others. Can you put together a list of anything you got surplus?
Yeah, I'll see if there's anything.
Okay. Questions or comments for Dale? Thank you, Dale.
Mm-hmm.
Chief, you got a police report?
Well, our call volume's up. As you see, we had about 539 counters this month or last month, so we're a little short-staffed, but it's because our guys at the academy is doing very well. Has passed every single test. He's in the top of his class in shooting. He's in EVOC this week. His fitness, he's lost about 35 pounds. So he's really doing well. He's beat the odds, and he's very, very happy and content. So that's one thing that we got to be proud about as well. Where our call volumes picked up enough to where that we're starting to have some backup issues. As you know, the county's busy too, and we've had to answer several domestics that were fights with just one officer. I'm going to look at trying to move some time shifts around. It kind of puts us in a kind of a tight spot with the other officer being at the academy, because there's just one officer per shift, which has been the norm here. But as you can tell, the stats have picked up, and there's a lot more going on. So, I've heard some things around town, and when you walk in the depot, everybody tells me their troubles. But I just wanted you all to know that I am aware of it, and safety comes first. But it is what it is, and we're just going to have to work through it. So if you hear something, the county's busy too. But we've answered every call. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, there's been some.
Yeah, you're doing a good job.
Some of that. Y'all have any questions for me on the stats? I just have one thing for you.
Let me just get in my request, if you got any
Yes, sir.
surplus property, just
Yes, sir.
get a list out of it. Anybody have questions, comments?
Is there any way we can get a deputy, like Lebanon and Mount Jew's got county deputies? Is there any way we could get one stationed up here? I mean, Mount Jew's at one time had about 5 stationed down there. Of course, they're right there in Lebanon. I see no reason why we can't have one here.
In a perfect world, I would tell you yes. But I think that would encompass, the sheriff having to ask him for, a big, one deputy. They make good money. Their benefit packages are amazing. And, that basically be putting someone else on extra. And, I would imagine that if we did that, they would want something from us per se. And if we're going to do something like that, we should probably look into next budget, maybe putting somebody else on, because like some of our events now, due to the budget, it's tight. I know that. We can't supply officers, and we've been having fights. It's been a lot. Jeff's calling me in a panic, screaming in the phone, and okay, Jeff, I just got one person on. That's all we can budget, and that's all we can do. So, next budget, and I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, but we probably need to consider something to where that when they have an event, we can dedicate one officer to that event. It got pretty heated the last time. There was about 15 people. Now, it was 2 ladies that ended up assaulting each other or getting into it with each other. But, if the county hadn't have been there to help fed, it would have been really messy, Then that's something we need to look into. And yes, I wish that they could do that.
They helped you with that. I can't understand why we can't get a deputy up here. That doesn't have anything to do with our police department, but they could help a little on the side, or it'd be just presence out here on the streets. I think it'd be a boost to us.
Well, it would be a tremendous boost, but, on the flip side, you have to look at their call volume out here is a whole lot less than it is on the other side.
That I can't see that has anything to do with it. If they can put 5 in Mount Juliet, and I know at one time as they did have down there, why can't they put one up here? And we're paying county taxes, so we're paying for these deputies in the long run. So I think we should not get the end, the little end of the stick, and get some help when we need it.
Yeah, it would benefit us.
I'll pass that along to the sheriff and tell him,
invite him up here and let us talk to him up here. Invite him to a meeting.
Feel free to call him as well.
I will.
You're tax-paying citizens, but I'll pass that along to him. But I'll tell you, when we built this building over here, we built it, the county paid for half of it, and the what it was to be is, of course, WEMA would have a substation here, and then the county would have availability here, so, that's still there, so. I'll mention that to Robert, but y'all feel free to call him. He's approachable.
Okay.
I don't mean to be disrespectful to the sheriff. He's approachable, and
Yeah.
he'll listen. I'll pass that along to him. Any questions of the chief? Okay.
I got one thing.
Oh,
So last month, we talked about the parking and the paving.
yeah,
And what I would bring to you is I've got 5 quotes, anywhere from 24,000 down to 11 and 8,500. Now, the 8,500 would cover the paving, the 20 by 80. And I would like to recommend that the city that, for 11,000 total, we could pave that and repaint the whole parking lot, reseal it, seal up all the cracks, repaint all the stripings. They'll repaint every handicap, no parking, everything for a total of 11,000. Now, I know that's more than what we thought, but he said, every paver has said, if you do it at the same time, it's easier because the equipment's here, and they'll do it cheaper, and I would recommend that we do that, and that would encompass the whole parking lot up to WEMA, the concrete, over, out, and over here on our side, around, to where that would come to. And that would just be spraying the black sealant, and they were going to dig the cracks out and do whatever they do on the interstate. It's like a plastic thing they melt down in there to fix that and seal over it. So I would recommend the lowest bid on that is $11,000. The highest bid is $24,000, and some of the other ones were a whole lot more on the sealant. But I think it would just be the right time to do it all. I know money's not free, but
Do you have a timeline on when that could be done? Because I don't think we can do it in winter, so it would have to happen quickly or wait till.
Well, he said basically the one guy said he could start this week. The rest of them were 3 to 4 months out. And this guy he believe his children go to Watertown as well.
good to see the 11,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And he was going to do some of it himself to cut costs. His quote was more, but he did that. And at the end of the day, we don't have an abundance of money. So as a good steward, that's what I think we should do.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the council?
Make a motion to approve the 11,000 to repave and restripe,
And reseal.
reseal the police department.
Not to exceed 11,000. Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay,
All right, thank you. Any other?
you've got, well, your coffee with a cop went
Yeah, we had
Halloween festivities were outstanding. I heard a lot.
Hey, we had over 400 people come. The kids, literally, they stayed after you left for another hour and a half.
Nice.
It was heartwarming to see that
Yep.
there was that many people that came.
Yeah,
The weather was
right.
awful.
Yes.
And then you've got another event planned for
This
Christmas
Friday.
Day? Or is it day after?
Thanksgiving Day, the hardware store graciously found us a good sponsor. Sponsored it, the whole thing. It kept us from having to buy it. And we're going to be able to feed 80 families with Honey Baked Town. Complete meal. We're going to package it. We'll deliver some of it. Whatever. People can come here. It's 10:30 to 1
Okay,
on Thanksgiving Day.
okay.
And then this Friday is what I created, the community prayer with a cop.
Yeah.
It's this Friday, yes.
Back to your meal, are you gonna limit it to people who live inside the city?
Yes, that
Families inside the city?
was the key. And then whoever doesn't come, then I will be here and we'll just deliver to some of the places that we would know that might be not want to come and
I
make it.
think you'll get people to come. So you'll need to have access to this room?
Yes, sir.
Thanksgiving Day?
Yes, sir, from 10:30 to 1.
Okay.
Well, 10 to 1,
All right.
because we want to.
I don't think we got anybody else.
Okay, but I don't,
Okay.
And again, with the gracious help of Hamilton Hardware, we were able to they got a sponsor
Thank
for us.
you so much.
And it was a blessing, because I don't have the money.
Okay,
I do now.
all right. Any other questions, comments?
Do you happen to remember when the Anderson, I can't remember his company, but when Mr. Anderson did his thing on the
I
school?
read something about it in the paper today. Is it the 19th of December?
No, do y'all know? Or was it
You talking about
December?
Randy?
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
I thought it was Thanksgiving, I'm sorry.
No, it's Christmas.
No, it's
We do.
Christmas.
Okay.
The 21st.
It's
That's 2 days.
usually Saturday before Christmas.
19 plus 2 is 21.
Okay. All right. Yes,
Tag mine on now.
yeah, I had it next on the list. so.
Okay.
I'm just trying to make a motion to create an internet email cloud server for the police department, so they have a .gov email source. But it's a 4-year plan. It's a reoccurring every 4 year. It's roughly about $750.
Some that had that. Anything like that.
750 per,
No, it's for well,
750 total?
yeah, that's all it is. Unless we add more emails to it, it'll cost more than that. That's 3 email sources on the server with that for 4 years.
Okay.
And that's a .gov
Yeah.
email system rather than .org or .com.
Yeah, we give them easy ability to get grants and other stuff a lot easier on filing. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
You want to make your motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you.
Well,
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm trying to check. December 12th?
That's what we're shooting for. And I've already talked to Ms. Stevens as well,
Okay.
for the backup in case of the weather.
Okay. Just making sure. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.
All right, Chief, appreciate it.
Thanks.
We'll move on to something else here. Sort of gotten out of order here, y'all bear with me just a minute. That was the next item, old business, that worked out good.
Mine was easy, so.
I appreciate you giving me the tip so that we could take that up while Chief was on his feet there. Okay, let me give you a report on our current projects. Think we maybe sent these out, or maybe we didn't. I got this after lunch. The water ARPA projects, we have approval for the water tank renovations and should have the WTP modification submitted to TDEC this month. The preliminary engineering report for the projects has been approved and we are working on the asset management plan. For the sewer project, work is ongoing with the lining portion of the sewer project having been completed. Work at this time is focused on the installation of the new sewer mains and addressing any settling issues on properties where cleanouts were installed. That's the single biggest question I've gotten from 4 or 5 people. And I think Hal even mentioned it last month at the meeting about where they had done the work and it's settling and they're aware they're going to have to go back and build that back up, which will probably
They've
have
come by and fixed mine.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
Other than-
And I've noticed several others, they
They made a second trip down Richland too, because they refilled mine.
I still think by the spring they'll have to do it again once a month.
yeah.
And they may.
But the fact that they recognize it and doing it, this came from Steve Jones, our engineer, so that's the update on those. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them, but I don't know that I can.
Running any snags, everything okay?
As far as I know, everything's okay, we're paying them, and, there's some big checks I sign once a month. Spending a lot of money. Street paving, of course, nothing's gonna happen on that till we get the sewer and water straightened out. And then I'm sure everybody's aware by now that we did get funded for the Watertown rail project. We got the grant for $1.6 million. We estimated the project to be $2.4 million. And we have to have an $800,000 match. I have a private donor who has already committed over $300,000 to the private match. And between the governments that we're working, there are also some other individual donors on a much smaller basis that I believe will come through with $10 or $15 or $20,000, which cuts into that. But the rest of the money we'll be looking for from the county and then of course our portion. And there is even some interest has been expressed by the Metro mayor because they'll be bringing that big steam engine out this way that they might put some in on. So I'm confident we can raise the money. Big Lick was the 1.6. There will be some type of event here in December. We're working on a tentative date, but some type of event to just kick it off and recognize that we're in the game now. You'll be hearing about that, but I am told that the Federal Rail Projects Administrator, whoever the guy is in charge of doling this money out, plans to be here.
So the Chrissy Grant people?
Yes, so they plan to be here. That's pretty incredible in itself when you figure out they spent billions of dollars in that program, and all we got, what did I say, 1.6? 100, whatever I said. But he would come down here. And I think that's out of credit to a gentleman that lives in this area that works out of Washington DC that was very instrumental in helping us get this. And so I'm looking forward to that. But we'll keep you posted on it. It's going to be sometime in December. So, and before I go any further, I was dilatory a while ago. John, was there anybody on there wanting to speak during public business?
There are people watching, but there's no comments.
No, okay. How many we got watching?
At the moment, we have 9. But
That's
we have
good.
A total of 25 views.
That's good. Okay, great. Okay, anybody got any questions about the turntable or anything? Okay, by the way, I've been chastised and I violated every day. The project is a Watertown rail project.
Rail yard,
Rail yard.
rail yard,
Rail yard.
Rail yard.
rail yard.
Yeah,
This
and
is
I gotta
proper-
quit saying turntable. The turntable is the feature part of the Watertown rail yard. All right, Lisa, have you got that telephone? Okay. The gentleman that wants to talk to us about the bicycle route, he could not be here tonight. I let him know this morning that we did not have the zoning coming up tonight, so there was room on the agenda for him, and so he has asked that we call him and put him on the speaker, and I'm gonna let him explain what his request is, and then y'all can ask the questions. Several months ago, there were some questions asked that I could not respond to, so you want me to come get it? Is that what you want?
No, I was just saying, I hope you got the number.
Oh, I do.
He hesitantly has the number.
Okay, you ready? You wanna go ahead and,
Well, I'm gonna bring it up there.
I was, you might not want to put his number out over the
okay,
airways.
all right.
What's the number?
Don't say it over
Don't say
there.
that loud.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Here it is in the yellow. Y'all have to excuse me. When we start these meetings, my goal is to get done.
I know they do.
Yeah, you get the speaker on? Hey Kerry, this is Mike Jennings up at Watertown. How you doing this evening?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
I'm in the middle. I have 3 council people to the left of me and 3 council people to the right. So hopefully they'll be able to hear you and you them. You also do what?
Do you want me to call this 615 number?
No. I think this will work good. This is a city phone we're on. And there's about 5 or 6 or 7 of our finest citizens here with us. So you've got a small audience, but people that are very interested in our community. So I mentioned before we dialed you up that You had talked about what your proposal would be, so if you would explain it to the people here and then make yourself available for questions if you would.
Sure. I'll go as quickly as I can. So we're talking about the U.S. bicycle route system. This is a nationally recognized system under AASHTO, the American Association of State Highway Transportation Officials. All of the state DOTs are members of AASHTO, and AASHTO regulates the federal highway system, the interstate highway system, and the U.S. bicycle route system. The U.S. Bicycle Route Project is a mapping project, so it's not a construction project, it's not an event. It's to provide a series of mapped interstate bicycle routes for people who want to do long-distance bicycle traffic. So people are doing multiple days, multiple weeks, sometimes even multiple months. And so when a U.S. bike route is designated, then people who want to ride across the state of Tennessee, in this case, can find a U.S. bike route and use it for that long-distance travel. So the routes end up, again, it's a mapping project so that people can identify a route. In order to get a U.S. bike route designated, each of the pavement owners, so that's the roads, streets, trails, highways, each of the pavement owners needs to sign off and say, yes, we support this route on our pavement. It's not, like I said, it's not a construction project. There's no cost to local agencies. There's no design requirements, no engineering requirements, no signage requirements, no maintenance requirements. And if at any time in the future the local agency decided they wanted to change the route, they can work with TDOT to get that done. So currently, we're working across the state of Tennessee. I've been in contact with Mike for a few months. There are 21 agencies across the state that need to sign off. 18 already have. Nashville will next month. And that leaves Watertown and one other jurisdiction. And so what we're asking of the city is either a letter of support to TDOT or pass a resolution of support. And I've given Mike sample texts of both. It's up to you guys how you want to do it in terms of whatever easiest for you. TDOT doesn't care either way which way is done. And just for reference, there's about 23,000 miles of U.S. bike routes already designated in the United States, 35 states and the District of Columbia. And there's already 3 designated in Tennessee. U.S. Bike Route 21, which goes from Kentucky basically up to the Cumberland Gap. U.S. Bike Route 23, which goes on the west side of Nashville down to just north of Huntsville, Alabama. And U.S. Bike Route 121, which connects Chattanooga and to U.S. Bike Route 23 southwest of Nashville. And that's about it. The proposed route in Watertown basically just gets off U.S. Highway 70 for a short distance, about a couple miles on East Main Street. So riders can come through town, see the sights, make some purchases, and get off the main highway for a while. But then it gets right back on 70 and heads off in both directions from Watertown. So I think that sums it up. Are there any questions?
I have one, Kerry, and our police chief is here as well. I neglected to say that to you, but potential liability or exposure for the city of Watertown, in case somebody gets hit, run over on a bicycle or whatever. Is there any additional exposure over and above what would happen if, somebody's child was riding a bicycle down the street and got hit?
No, it's no different. In some of the original material I sent you, Mike, I sent you a lot of information. So
You did. And I didn't read it before tonight, so
in there, there's a link to a study by the Federal Transportation Research Board on the designation of bike routes and liability. And the basic, the quick summary is First of all, you already have sovereign immunity, so unless you're grossly negligent, I'm sure you guys are all familiar with that terminology, unless you're grossly negligent, the sovereign immunity protects all the local agencies. And the study reaffirms that, and basically, since bicycles are legal road users, designating as a bike route doesn't change that liability. And I would add, again, there's 23,000 miles of designated U.S. bike routes, and this project has been underway for literally 40 years rather. Most of the activity's been in the last 15, but there's not been a single legal action that we're aware of regarding the fact that there was a U.S. bike route. So that's not saying there hasn't been a single successful legal action. There hasn't been a single legal action. So nobody has raised their hand and said, wait a minute, I was on a U.S. bike route and you owe me some money. That has just simply not happened in the past 15 years. So in terms of the basic legal liability because of your sovereign immunity and the fact that bikes are legal road users and a lot of experience, the short answer to that is no liability.
Okay. You got your question, Chief?
Yeah, what I would say is, traveling across the country for my baseball, Johnson, almost all of the bike trails that I've seen, and some you've spoken of and some you haven't, are all marked as such. So does the marking help or not help? Because to me, it would seem that if it wasn't marked and you just say it's a bike trail, that at the end of the day, there would still be some kind of liability for such. And would they be posted signs? Because, you know, as a government, we act on black and white signs that are enforceable. Would it just say, hey, this is a designated bike trail at one at the beginning, one in the middle, and one at the end? How would that play out for us? Because, you know, we're going through sewer projects. We're going to have to repave 90% of the streets. So what does that look like on that?
Well, again, there's no requirement for signage and no requirements for any maintenance or any engineering or design. So the whole project is about using existing roads, streets, and trails. Can somebody sue you? Sure they can. Anybody can sue for anything, and I'm sure.
It's a wonderful country we live in. I'm an attorney. It's a wonderful country.
Are you a trial lawyer?
I used to be. I'm gotten too old.
Okay, well, you know what I'm talking about then. But just repeating that, to our knowledge, nobody has ever sued based on that. And the state of Tennessee has not signed any of its U.S. bike routes. The state's got over 500 miles of existing bike routes. Again, from an experience standpoint, from a legal standpoint, there's no added liability.
Okay. Questions around the table? Anybody? Carrie, you said the letter or the resolution. I didn't bring either one tonight. If I put this on the agenda in December to vote on, does that give you any heartburn, or do we need to do it tonight?
No, I've got the next window for an ASHTO application is in the spring, so December would be fine.
I'll fix the resolution up that you sent me, personalize it to Watertown, and have it on our December agenda, which will be the third Tuesday in December.
Okay, I hope it's probably in pretty good shape already, but you're obviously as
No.
lawyer, you can tweak it any way you want and get it right, so that'd be great.
I won't mess with the substance of it. I'll just make sure that it identifies with Watertown. And you may have already done that, but we'll.
I tried.
Okay,
I tried.
good.
All right. And if in the meantime, between this meeting and your December meeting just before the holidays, if any questions come up, Mike, you've got my contact information, and I can answer anything that comes up.
I'll do that. If I get some questions, Carrie, I'll share your email address so you can communicate that way. We didn't give your telephone number out tonight. The mayor, myself, almost did, and then I was reminded that I didn't need to do that, so we didn't give your number out.
Okay. It's splattered around the internet already, so.
Okay.
But that's okay. And I really appreciate everybody's time, and thanks for your consideration.
All right, thank you for making yourself available like this. Appreciate
All
it.
right, no problem.
Okay.
Take care.
You too. I think I cut it off. The whole kind of things popped up on here, so I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, well, I'm glad he agreed to do that. I know there were some questions several months ago, and I just didn't have any clue what the answer was, but he did a good job of presenting it.
Sounds like they weren't expecting any changes to be made for them. That's really the only worry I had. They were wanting us to pave or change or sidewalk or,
But
you know.
basically, Main Street's gonna show up in a Google search now as part of a designated bike trail.
That's all it is.
Yep. And you know, we have a lot of bicyclists come through here anyway.
Yes.
Certainly we do. What, the Big Hill Challenge every May, and great event. See all the colors and people riding the bicycles. Budget report, just to say to you here, not raising any red flags, not raising any alarm. And it's not unusual at this time of year, 5th month into the year, where we've only had 1 month basically of property tax collections, and most people don't pay them the first or second month. But all three of our funds right now, the expenses exceed revenue. Now, that doesn't concern me again in November. What does concern me a little bit is the difference between the revenue and expenditures is a little bit more significant than it has been in the past. We'll watch that in December if there's some, you know, if it comes together there a little better. I don't expect it to, revenues to exceed expenditures by December, but I do expect to see some progress. If not, we'll have to take a look at some things. But everything is, general fund is a little concerning, and then water and sewer, we're about $67,000 difference there. Now, we can make that up, and most likely will. Again, I'm not spreading the alarm, I just wanted everybody to be aware of that. And y'all may have gotten some calls about it. I know the ladies that work here have. The Serve Line Protection Program will be effective December 1st. So we shouldn't have any more requests for adjustments. And people can opt out of that, and some have. But again, we need to say publicly, if they opt out, they're on their own. There will not be any adjustments, because we've got to find a way to reduce our water loss. And we're working on that right now, and that's not because we want to, although we should want to, but it's because the state's telling us we got to. So just updating you on that. And I've got some items of new business here.
Mayor Jennings, I know the state had mentioned possibly having to raise our water. When is that gonna come into play?
You talking about water rates? I may very well have a recommendation for you in December, most likely January, but it's coming.
Yeah, I know that
Yeah.
there's nothing we can do. This is coming from the state. I just didn't know when to expect.
Yeah, and I've got a couple of things tonight that I'm going to present to you.
Okay.
The next thing I want to do is I want to ask you to, I want to appoint, subject to your confirmation, Julie Robinson as our new city judge. For those of you that don't know Julie, she is a Watertown High School graduated as valedictorian in 1992. She received her AAS in Paralegal Studies in 1996 from Ball State, has a BS in Criminal Justice with a minor in Psychology and Paralegal Studies from MTSU, graduated Nashville School of Law in 2002. She's been practicing law since 2002. She has practiced in association with Susan Mary. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. Practiced with Rochelle McCullough Alls for about 16 years, and then since February of 2019. She has been, she's with Lanham and Williams in Lebanon. She is president of our local bar association right now. She has coached Watertown Community League basketball and softball for many years. Worked on Habitat for Humanity houses and serves on the Watertown High School Community Foundation Scholarship Committee. Now, she said this, but I love the way she said it. And most importantly, I got here by starting with Michael R. Jennings in January of 1993 and worked with him until May of 1997. She is exactly right. She started with me, and her work ethic is second to none. She is a hard worker, works a lot of hours, and I have no qualms whatsoever recommending her to be our city judge. Always worried a little bit about having a judge from the same community that has to sit on maybe their neighbors or whatever. But we've had it with Bob Lee, basically we had it with Jerry Hunt, both of them very active in our community. And I want to recommend to you that we appoint Julie to be the next city judge of Watertown.
Do you need a motion on that?
I do.
I make a motion with.
Is there a second?
Julie.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Julie asked if she needed to come to this meeting tonight. I told her I didn't think so, but she'll do a good job. And more importantly, she knows she has to work cheap. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'll let Julie know if she's not watching. I'll let her know tomorrow. Okay, Laura, you talked about an increase on some water and sewer. The next one I want to get to is we have been low for many years, I'm finding out, on the cost of water and sewer tap fees. And a couple of months ago, I asked April and Lisa to get me some comparable figures from other communities. We got information from the City of Lebanon, we got information from Wilson County, we got information from Trousdale County, got information from DeKalb County, got information from Alexandria, got information from Spencer and Van Buren County, and maybe one other. We are by far the lowest at $1,500 per tap. $1,500 for water, $1,500 for sewer. One of those, they range anywhere from $2,600 to, believe it or not, $8,500, and that was in Spencer. Now, y'all know Spencer's a small community, isolated, and probably more strained for raising revenue than we are. But I'm here to recommend to you tonight that we increase our water and sewer tap fees to $3,000 each. And furthermore, I talked a while ago about how we lose water, but we also lose revenue. And our water deposit right now is $100. And if people use a lot of water, if it's a household of 4, 5, or 6 people, their water bill is going to be more than $100. And when they leave us, if they don't pay us, we get that $100 deposit, but we lose the rest of it. So I'm recommending to you that we increase the deposit for service on property that is owned by the owner to $150. If it is rental property, $250. Because that's basically where we take our beating, is on rental property. And we have a lot of it in this county, in this city. So that's my recommendation to you on first reading, if you will approve that, or if you want to modify it, or if you don't want to approve it. But I think this is a way, it will not be a consistent source of revenue, but it will be a small source of revenue for each year. And y'all know that we have some things coming where there'll be some water and sewer taps sold. So I will recommend that to you on first reading, and if you approve that, and if you take a beating out in the community, you can blame it on me. But we've got to get our money in shape on that, so.
I make a motion
Look,
to approve.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
If I understood you right, the current water and sewer is 1,500?
It is. Each.
Each,
1,500.
each, just like the 3,000 each.
Yeah.
And the current deposit is 100. What's the current deposit for rental property?
It's 100 across the board.
Okay, 100 across the board.
And we still have our reconnection fee at $50. It will remain the same. Others have raised that. Most of them
Well,
are at
that was gonna be my
75.
question. Any particular reason we're not adjusting the reconnection fee?
We can sure do it. I don't have a problem with that.
Personally, I think a $75 reconnection fee would be reasonable in today's economy.
you know, the goal is to get people to pay their bills. If they pay their bill, they don't have to do any of this.
Yeah.
You want to make a motion and approve what I've said and make it 75?
Yeah, I'll make a motion, that we approve the ordinance as you've presented it for the new water and sewer connections, but we adjust the reconnection fee to be $75 instead of the current 50.
Okay. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Is there a discussion? Raising fees or taxes or water and sewer rates is never easy because we all live here and we all could have to pay these expenses, and I understand that. But we also have a duty, a state requirement, not a duty, to finish in the black in water and sewer. So, discussion? Okay. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, you'll see this one again in December on second and final reading, and I'll make the change.
What's the length of that you've got to not pay your bill before it's disconnected? How much time? What is this?
Bills go out, they're payable by the 10th of the month fall. We usually get the bills out 20th or 21st of the month. Payable by the 10th of the next month. And then there is an additional fee added between the 10th and the 20th. And then after that, we give a few more days and we cut off usually around 27th.
I know that's going to be asked.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to ask.
We're pretty lenient. We're pretty lenient.
So, the way you described it, so basically you've got a month from time the bills go out until potentially the water's cut off.
You do.
There's a penalty in there, but you've got a month to.
There is, Steve, but you know, one of the reasons for increasing this deposit is the fact that somebody can move out on the 20th and they've got one outstanding bill and they've already used what's for the next one.
Right.
So we
They've
still
used a
may
month
not
and a half.
recover it all.
Yeah, they've used a month and a half when they move out.
How much is the penalty?
The penalty, what is the penalty? 10%? 20? That's what I got y'all for. Help me remember things. One of the reasons. All right, did we vote on that? We didn't, did we?
Yeah.
Or did we? You want to vote again?
We did vote.
Okay. Thank you all for that. Steve Casey asked me to put on the agenda tonight discussion about the old City Hall building. So Steve, we'll go with you.
Yeah, I wanted to bring it up, I mean, a couple of reasons. One, if we're gonna keep it, we've got to spend some money on it and update it, because it's gonna continue to deteriorate because of the roof and the situations we've got over there. And the second part of my question is, I mean, if we are gonna put money in it, what do we see that facility being long-term, other than, I know it's got historical significance for the city hall, a lot of sentimental attachment, but honestly, to me, we don't need to have that large of a space on the square that's not being utilized for either as a business or something for the community. And I don't know what the fellow council members here have as, if we're not gonna make it something useful by the community, I think we need to give some serious consideration to possibly selling the property. Because if we keep it and don't use it, it's a liability. If we don't put money into it, it's gonna continue to deteriorate. But if we put money into it and fix it up, I mean, what are we gonna do with it?
Well, I can tell you, I think I speak, and if I misspeak, ladies tell me, but we are in bad need of storage space. So we need that for storage space. But we've also got some organizations that are kind of, shall I say, having a little disagreement now about who gets to store what, where. We can get that straightened out over the next few months. One of the problems that we have, and there's just no way around it, I mean, if I had a way to sugarcoat it, I would, but there's only one way in and out to the upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really unusable as a business because of the fact of ADA requirements. So we can use it for storage, for us to go in and out or whatever. The bottom part perhaps can be used for other stuff, because there's more access to it. Hal Roberts remembers, and I remember, but there used to be an old jail in the back there. And it was a Andy Griffith type jail. Mike Hunter, I think, still got the bars from it, or some of it. But the building has some historical significance, yes. But there's more room there than you think. If it was cleaned up and renovated and stuff,
I've been
it possibly could be used.
Bob took me through it a couple months ago.
I don't think Hal Roberts ever spent any time in there, and I didn't either, so I don't know anything about the inside, but. Steve, when I sent the proposed agenda out, Steve told me that he wanted to have a discussion on this. I think it's wise. I think we do need to do something. In fact, I think, and I'll take the responsibility for it, we've been dilatory in it. So, but we had two events that we recovered some insurance money on. And I believe, what did we figure a while ago, April, was around $47,000 or $48,000 that we got from the insurance company. And of course, there was quite a bit of depreciation, but that was bottom line of what we got. Gerald Lamberson has given us a bid, passed that around there, the total on those four things. And he said the top two have to be done, strongly recommends the bottom two. But they come up to between $69,000 and $70,000. And then he told me there is going to be some expense because the brick is falling off, so that's got to be solidified, for lack of a better term. And there's a couple of radio towers or radio equipment over there that's not being used that needs to come down. So I think we need to fix the building, and it's going to cost some money, but if we sold it, we'd have to do something to get ready to sell. So my recommendation to you is to do the work, to dry that in, put a good roof on it, hopefully take down the liability stuff over there, not to exceed $80,000. Gerald said he thought between 75 and 80. Let's go ahead and say not to exceed 80,000. And he told me just before we came in here, I said, can you start on it in the morning? He said, no, but he said, I can get to it pretty quick. And we're working, but depending on the weather. So it's not going to be next spring or anything like that. So hopefully we can get that done, if the council wishes to spend that money.
What about the, I know the interior, after being inside the upstairs, how do we go about
Cleaning it out?
Because it is drastic.
Yeah, we're going to have to deal with that next, but we got to get it.
I know that's outrageously high, trying to mold
Yep.
removal is.
Got to get it dried in and get that stuff out of there.
It's the easiest way I've seen those guys bagging those buildings, but I don't know what that would ensue for that building, because it's on a square with another building attached.
It may be shocking to find out, maybe some of the
So I
things
know
we find out.
certain things on that are called the EPA, which are
Absolutely,
pretty drastic people.
absolutely. And I'd like for state and feds to stay out of it if we could, because the first thing they're going to say is, you got a narrow stairwell that, you know, that accesses the top and nothing else. We don't even have a fire escape. But we'll have to do some more work on the inside, and there are a lot of records in there that can, I'm sure, can be thrown away, but there's some things there that I believe in there that are gonna have some historical significance if they're not ruined. And if we can identify those and get them to the archives.
We don't have storage either.
I knew you were gonna tell me that. But, okay, here's my second plan. If we can identify those and perhaps make part of that upstairs there part of the, for storage for the archives as well.
We have old people climbing those stairs,
You do?
and those archives are heavy.
Yep.
That's just one of the,
Okay.
What about that table up there that we used to use when we was
Big old conference table.
conference table?
It was.
I hate to see that go. Been there a long time.
I haven't looked at it, how Steve
It
may
may,
have seen
may
it.
not be good now. I don't know.
Probably
I
destroyed.
know it was up there whenever I went up there with Bob, but I was not looking to see what kind of condition the table was in. I was mainly looking at the roof structure and.
Yeah.
You need to
And,
bring the bleach.
We had some good arguments up there. about
Sure
that.
had.
Lots of bleach.
And I'll tell you this, you know, I always tell y'all something historical, and that's just because I'm old and I remember it a lot better than I remember what I had for breakfast this morning. But when we used to meet up there, the city took care of their business, and they threw all the bills out in the middle of the table, and everybody kind of looked at them, and then somebody would make a motion to pay the bills, and second, and they vote to pay the bills. And
so you had an option?
do what?
You had an option not to pay it?
No, and I got appointed city attorney when Edsel Floyd was the mayor before me, and I got appointed city attorney, made the grand sum of $100 a month, which is the only time I've had a paying job in the city. But the first night I did that, I said, guys, what if you vote not to pay it? What are you gonna do? You gotta pay your bills. So they quit doing it. I'm sure when I left there, and I was saying that young, you know, probably you fill in the blanks. But that's what they used to do, Steve. I couldn't believe that.
One follow-up question. So we're basically looking at $75,000-$80,000 in repairs that we know of.
Yes.
Potentially more.
Okay. Most likely more.
Most likely more.
Because you got
Probably.
the inside, that's just
And
the outside.
the 75 to 80 is just the roof and the physical structure of the outside.
Dried in.
And you said we've got about 47,000 in insurance funds that can.
We do, and that's
So
part of the
we got
money.
about half of it.
We did.
We got about half of it, okay.
And the sign out here on Three Forks, I got reminded the other day in another meeting that we need to fix the sign, and it's true. We actually got a little over $3,000 for that, for some wind damage. So we got some money to fix that sign.
Okay.
It's all in the
So,
same.
so we've got half of it already, plus,
Yeah, we did. And we still got some ARPA money we held back that we can
okay.
use when
All right.
they.
That's where I was headed, is where we were gonna actually have the funding to at least get the building dried in and safe again, even before we start with the interior remodel, so, okay.
The only reason I was asking about some of the mold stuff, while they have a lot of the section off, maybe an easier time to dispose of a lot of stuff that's,
Well, we may have to.
because they'll have most of all the roof off, it may be easier to put a chute out and have a, you know, an easy way to dispose of those stuff there. But, yeah.
Probably,
It's just a lot of money for
I'm,
storage.
what you said is very accurate. And probably if we use that upstairs for any storage, it'd have to be city storage so that our employees like Bob and the guys could get it and not have somebody go up there that's mature and fall.
The storage, here's the question, where we used to store the historic and some of the chamber and some of the event equipment is that area where they're using for the oil changes. When that went away, another option for storage did not materialize. So everybody's been scrounging around trying to get someplace to put everything. And we changed hands with the historic people who are playing ball and with
Well,
whoever
but
else is
they've been doing
doing something that are actively
I'm not sure if they're doing it.
managing events and so on. But if we don't have a place to put things that are convenient and organized, you're not gonna bring 17 more events in here with that train. So you might wanna consider a long-term storage solution. We actually had the wild hair idea of getting a couple of, what do they call them? The shipping containers
And
that
then
come on
tail
top of the
the
railroad cars and put them out back here and they're secure and you can paint it to look like a train if you want, or something that's locked and secure, hopefully not subject to graffiti, and that we can use this coming year. Because that's gonna take 2 years to be ready and utilized, and we still have people doing oil changes over there.
Well, I kind of made a commitment the other day at the chamber meeting that I know there's a debate between the Desperados and the Christmas tree and Christmas ornaments and wreaths. And I made a commitment that we'd have that problem straightened out. and we'll get it straightened out.
The Desperados are
But-
essential and have an incredible history here that
They do.
Mike
and I-
Stoffel pointed out, and we certainly want to support them and not tick them off like somebody did, that would be me. And,
Well, I'm not being critical of anybody, but I know
Yeah.
during the little skirmish that was had Saturday a week ago, both sides claimed that they had talked to the mayor, and I know the mayor pretty well, and neither side had talked to me.
I didn't talk to
Yeah,
her. I talked to
no.
April, poor girl, she got. home
Now, I know, but both sides were claiming, and I was in Oak Ridge eating lunch, and I got a call and they said that the mayor said we could do this, and I said, the mayor ain't talking to nobody. So, but I did make a commitment the other day that we won't have this problem again. There's no sense. Everybody has a role, and I agree. The Desperados raise money for the Sue Tallis Scholarship, and that's something that serves our seniors very well. At the high school, we certainly don't want anything to damage that.
And they deserve a place to put their things.
And I'll also make a comment that I made over there the other day, and that is I've had a goal for years. I think maybe even with one of our former council members here has probably heard me say this. I really wanted to buy some decent Christmas decorations, but they are so doggone expensive, and we got so many other needs that I just can't justify it. But I would love for people to drive up here and come say, let's go to Watertown and see the lights. You know, I wish we could do it, but we're not there yet. Maybe in the next 4 years we can get there. But as we have, you know, the old saying, you have too much months for the money.
Yeah.
We have too many issues for the money we have, so we just have to do the best we can. But we'll get that resolved.
How expensive are the light bulbs that we use on the siding?
How,
The light bulbs, how expensive are those light bulbs?
I can't answer that. Mr. Dow may be able
Which
to.
side are we on?
You know, the ones that are purple and white now?
You talking about the posts or the bulbs?
I'm talking about the bulbs in those, right? We have purple bulbs, we have white bulbs.
We do.
Oh, they're called corncob lights, and they're basically run about $6-7 a piece, and they last a long time. So that you can get them at any of the hardware stores now.
So you could change it during the holiday season and make it red, green, white, like down there and down.
That's a thought.
I do have those a lot. 'cause
Bob
I-
Moore gonna love you for that.
Well, and Hal mentioned.
That is a good thought.
Or just change the purple ones, right? Make it white, red, white, green, so it's few
Yeah.
changes.
Okay.
And then lots of people see it.
The light bulbs, my problem is getting some, poor Bob.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Bob Morgan's gonna love her for
He
that.
knows they're out of
I'll give you credit, Katie, okay? Okay, back to the roof. Are y'all prepared to make that investment in drying this building in?
Well, before we vote on that, I have a question since this has come up. Do we need to consider going ahead and, because I know those storage containers, you can buy the one-trip ones for about $3,000, $3,500. Do we need to approve funding to maybe buy at least one or a temporary storage container to put out back here to use? Because we're going to have to get stuff out of that building when they tear the roof off of it. Do we want to consider getting at least one container for short-term storage?
We can make it part of the motion if we need it.
Well, that's what I was thinking, make it part of the motion, and if, when all is said and done and the building is restored, if we don't have a use for it, those things have a market, you can resell them. And it would be,
$3,000 a month, $3,000?
no, that's to buy the container, and only that right.
So we're gonna pay $80,000 to restore a place to store things.
While they're working on it.
$3,000, $80,000 is a whole lot of money for a storage
is.
place.
No, but we're talking about while the roof's off of it, this stuff's gotta be stored somewhere. Isn't that what you're saying, Steve?
But, right, that's what I'm saying, the 3,500 or so would be for temp storage, but I think, Laura, I think your point is, we're considering spending $80,000 to fix a roof on a building that's gonna be used for long-term storage. But,
I have a question. Is it possible to turn the upstairs into a small, like, apartment?
No access to it. And there's no shower.
Could you put a staircase on the outside? Because I know the
Possible.
other building where the coffee shop used to be, My daughter rented out one of those apartments up there, and they just had the long staircase on the outside. I was wondering if it's possible to make some kind of studio apartment above, rent that out, put a business in the bottom, because we desperately need more businesses, especially with this train coming in. And the city keep the building, and it, you know, you could still keep the old, like, city hall painted on there somewhere, make it awesome.
The facade stayed the same, so.
Okay.
But that way, we're getting revenue from the top, we're getting revenue from the bottom, if it's possible.
Well, it is. All of these are good ideas. It comes down to money.
Right.
But we gotta fix the roof.
Well,
I don't think that's optional.
and whether we keep it for storage or if we end up fixing the roof and then decide to sell it later, I think we gotta fix the roof regardless. I mean, we don't really have a choice. We gotta fix the roof.
For sure. I think Kendra likes a question.
Yeah.
The one thing I would like to say, you talked about renting the bottom out for whatever, doing whatever. I would recommend that if we're going to fix it, then I'd recommend fixing the bottom up, and I could conduct my traffic schools there, and we could maybe even have court there. There's a lot of things that go in, it does well for itself, but my point to this is, you know, there's almost 3 months out of the year we can't do anything in this building. Well, there's due process, and when you write somebody a ticket, and then when you don't have court for election, which you have to have elections, no problem. There's other things we don't have court. We can't have anything in here. I'm just saying, you know, it would keep people out of here. It would always allow us to do 2, 3, 4 traffic schools a month instead of having to wait and have 30 in one class and then have to bring another instructor in. I'm just saying that, just consider that maybe the police department can get some use out of it. And what we bring in with the traffic school, and now that we're a vendor for the whole state, folks are sending people here for traffic school, you know, that does generate some money given back to the city. So I just wish you, before you say, hey, let's rent it to a business, at least give us that option, because again, we're dead in the water for 2 to 3 months, cumulative over the year, and like, we won't have court again until January.
I think you'll find your new city judge will meet as frequently as you need her to.
This may be way too far in advance, but building on to what Andrea was just saying, it seems like if you set that up as a multi-purpose space where you could have that, you could also rent it to a pop-up business on train days and get money out of it that way.
Sure.
That's a high traffic day. And
Yeah.
if you set it up so that it's multi-purpose.
Well, repairing the building, I think, will create a beneficial situation for the city, regardless of what we do with it long term. But I have a tendency to agree with Laura. I don't think we can afford to spend this much money and make it total storage in the future. We're gonna have to have some other options along with that.
And that'll be a decision to be made here. And we've already heard several good ideas around and people lining up to use a building that ain't, probably, it's not big enough to handle all the requests.
Yeah.
But I do think it needs to be revenue producing if we can. So, but what I'm asking for tonight is fix the roof.
As long as we're in agreement that there's multi-purposes to be used.
I'm gonna tell you,
Fine with it.
I won't vote, and y'all are 6. You can certainly outvote me really quickly, but I won't vote to sell that building. I wanna fix it up and use it for something, but I won't vote to sell that building.
Well, I mentioned it, but I also, in my opinion, that is the absolute last resort.
Oh, I agree.
Right.
Now, I won't say,
You never say never, but that would be the absolute last resort, would be to sell it, because there is too much
Right.
historical,
I don't want to be remembered, and I don't want my children and grandchildren having to answer somebody say, well, your daddy sold the old city hall.
yeah.
And I don't want that. I'm sorry.
Times gotta get a lot worse than they are right now before we do
Absolutely.
that. So, but I'll make a motion that we agree to do the repairs on the building with the roof not to exceed $80,000.
But we already had 47.
Well,
Yeah.
total.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you want to add anything for storage if we have to buy?
So, yeah.
Well, I don't.
I paid $2,700 for one about 2 months ago, so they're.
Okay.
For
and-
44, it's probably
85.
Okay, how about I'm gonna rephrase it, I'm gonna make a motion that we repair the roof, given the estimates from Gerald Lamerson along those guidelines, and look at obtaining, additional temporary storage containers not to exceed $85,000 total for the renovation and the storage containers.
All right. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Discussion? It's been a good fruitful discussion. Appreciate the input from everybody. Ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll let Gerald know. I want to run 2 or 3 other things by you, and I'll come back to something. We need to set a date to take the oath of office. The 3 council people and myself. The results will be certified the 25th. I saw where the city of Lebanon is going ahead and giving the oath to their people, and I've always thought it was, I mean, that's their business. But I don't feel comfortable taking the oath without having the election certified. We can do it at our next meeting, and I think that is the 17th.
17th.
Or any of you are free to go through the oath of office individually. If you wish to have your family there and have somebody, a judge or whatever, administer the oath to you and have pictures and all of that stuff, we can give you the oath of office so that you can give it to the judge that administers the oath. If not, unless there's some opposition, I will set that up for the 17th. You say the 17th, Steve?
17th is the
And I'll
third
have somebody here to administer the oath to all of us. But if you want to do it individually, or separately, I should say, feel free to do that. I have one other thing I need you to vote on, and then possibly another, we're going to have to have some discussion. Our bid limit here is $10,000. Anything we buy over that's supposed to be done with public notice and stuff. The state has changed the law now that allow us to raise that up to $25,000 for non-emergency, non-proprietary purchases. Which reminds me, I need to go back for another motion. Let me stop right here. We did not bid the roof thing, but it is an emergency, so I need somebody to make a motion in a second to declare the repair of the roof to be an emergency so that we don't have to go through 3 or 4 months bidding process.
I'll make a motion to make the roof an emergency.
Okay. Is there a
And
second?
I'll second that, I've seen the condition of it.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Kind of got the cart before the horse, but it'll work out. So the increase in the bid limit, $10,000, it's not a lot of money when you're buying stuff for the city. And if we technically follow the law, we're supposed to issue a bid, run the notice in the paper, which costs money. So I'm asking that we go to the maximum of $25,000 for non-emergency, non-proprietary purchase. Now, a proprietary purchase is somebody that has the only game in town. That's a different thing. So I'd like to recommend that to you on first reading.
This is for things that have to have bids.
I'm sorry.
Things that have to have bids, is more or less. what
Yeah,
it is.
anything over 25. Under 25, you're supposed to get 3 written quotes, but you don't have to run a notice in the paper. You can pick up the phone and call 3 different places in town, say, what do you do this for? Get them to send fax or something, and that qualifies.
I make the motion to increase it to 25,000 for non-emergency.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, and I'll bring that one back to you in December. The only other thing we have is to discuss the brush pile. I got a call 7 or 8 weeks ago from an interested party who said our brush pile is being used for more than just burning brush. And I sensed then that trouble was coming. And I was right. We got a letter, certified mail, a couple of weeks ago from the state of Tennessee, for TDEC, Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. Fortunately, they termed it an advisement letter. And basically what they told me was, we're advising you that you're violating environmental standards. And here's the key language that they gave us. If I can find it to read it to you, bear with me here, and I will read it to you word for word. Yeah, well, as the property owner, and they sent pictures, by the way, there's pictures of garbage bags in there, metal, other things. But part of this letter says, as the property owner, the city of Watertown is responsible for incidents of prohibited open burning that occur on its property, which may include a civil penalty. This is true even if Watertown did not cause or allow someone else to cause the prohibited open burning. It is Watertown's responsibility to affirmatively take the necessary steps to prevent acts of prohibited open burning on its property. Now, what they're saying to us in a legalistic way is, this happens again, you're going to get a civil penalty. So we need to talk about what we're going to do with the brush pile. I put it again in my article. It'll come out in the paper tomorrow. But I wrote about it in November of last year, stressing to people, you've got to stop doing this. And it's still going on. Not as great as it was, but it's still going on. So y'all tell me what you want to do with the brush pile.
So.
I'm ready to throw my hands on it.
Somebody from our community contacted the state instead of coming to us and allowing us to fix it. That's nice.
Well, let me cut into that a little bit more. A person contacted me and told me that, and they told me who they thought was doing it. So I went to that organization and said, you got to stop this. Now, I don't know if they continued or if it was somebody else. So, but
And that's just on our property. That's not other people's private
no, that's
property.
ours back there.
Right.
Yeah.
So if they're burning their own garbage on their own property,
They can pay the penalty.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm just
But
trying to figure
ours
out,
is-
because if we own that property, we're responsible.
Right.
That's correct.
We've got the liability because we own the property on the backside of the creek.
Okay.
That's correct.
Yeah, I'm just wrapping my brain up.
So what, I've had some suggestions given to me, and I appreciate that. But I can't put a city employee over there to watch that all day, every day.
Yeah.
We need our people too many places, and we don't have the money to do that. We have put up chains to keep people out of there. We have put the word out at times that it'll be open on Wednesday afternoon or Friday afternoon or whatever. But folks, I've come by here at night going home and seen cars over there after dark.
So how are they getting over there?
They
If
just
the
take the
chain's
chain.
up.
They just
it's
take it
stuck.
or drive around it.
Yeah.
The chain was damaged and destroyed, we did a report on it, and then that's when we spoke about putting a gate up as well,
And just like what we've done in the past, I mean, you guys can't remember all the time to go over there and unlock it on certain days. I mean, that's just a lot to ask. And I think we've been trying to be very accommodating to our citizens and allowing this. And if they're still abusing it, well, you can slap a hand so much and then you have major consequences. And here we are.
Well, my thoughts on it are, we either, when we have it open, we have to have someone monitor it and have someone over there, which we, as you just said, Mayor, we really can't afford to do that.
We need them so many other places.
Exactly. That's not our priority to have one monitor the burn pile. And because it's continued to be abused, unfortunately, I think we're just gonna have to eliminate that as a service to our community. At least for the time being, until situations may change.
How do we keep people off of it even after you say we can't use it?
Well,
Because the state doesn't care.
right.
So they're gonna rise to a fine
Well,
regardless.
I wasn't gonna say this, but since you brought it up, I will. I have taken personal measures, and I have purchased some used chain link fencing that I have donated to the city. It's over there. It's got all the hardware Bob needs to put it up. My only request to Bob is anything that's left over, I get it back. The only expense the city may have is a little bit of hardware, or if Chief Hinderlight decides to put barbed wire on the top. It's got the barbed wire brackets, but the barbed wire did not come with it.
You'll just go with razor wire?
That's up to you.
Will it go from end to end where they cannot drive around it or cannot?
It'll go from the gate down to the creek, and there should be enough to run maybe a 10 or 20 foot section. I mean, we've got enough to put fence on both sides of the gate where you can't drive around it.
If we put that up, can we not like put a lock on it and then have it where a citizen could come over here and get the key? That way you know who's going in and out.
Sign it out.
Like, I don't want to do completely with it. I mean, I use that. I know several other people who do too, and it's nice to have. I mean, I don't think we should just jump straight to no.
I mean, we were talking about the same thing exactly this way when I was on city council, but it wasn't shingles, it was appliances. But I just took down 3 trees and I'm sort of waiting because I have brush stuff that I need to bring over here. And I think if we don't provide that, then we push more fires into the city and people burning stuff at their own place, and then they're not even going to think twice about throwing something extra on there, right? And I understand 100% that the city has to protect itself. But I think it might be, there's a compromise. I think the fence is important, right? But it's a small number of bad actors.
It is.
Meaning that we can't have nice things.
Yeah.
But can we have every other week or once a month a time where somebody is over there, the gate's open, they check you, they check what you're bringing in, and then you can come in and then come around and out. When it is only on weekdays, that's really hard for a regular working family.
Yeah, I just threw that out there.
No, well, that's how it's been for a while. You have to call to get it open, but I don't trust myself to drive a trailer, and John's working 60 hours a week. And so I guess what I'm asking for is, please can we try to find a compromise? I agree that nobody can be over there all the time, but can we, and there's no time or day that will make everyone happy, but at least if we know when it's going to be, we can prepare.
I think it would be a disadvantage for all the older people in Watertown if we do away with it. You just think, if they have Bobby, and I was talking to them the other day, and they went with some lady here in town, I don't know who she was, elderly person. She had a tree fall, or part of it. Bobby and them went up there and cut it up and hauled it off for her. If we don't have a place to do that, that's gonna be an expense for some older people that probably can't afford it, because they're gonna have to have somebody haul it off or do away with it. And I just hate to see it closed up, but I know it's gotta be something done, but
Yeah, and I think the important thing here is, Katie says a compromise. Perhaps there's one here with everything that's been mentioned, but whatever we come up with, I will write a letter back to the state and say, we've got your letter, we appreciate what you said, and here's the steps we've taken to try to stop it. Is that good enough? And now they're not gonna tell me, but I'll give them a chance to. But at least they know we're trying. So I think Steve's offer of the fence is good, to run it on both sides. And then we've got to figure out, a little concerned, Caleb, about letting them pick up a key, because we've run into this before over here. Somebody gets a key, and before they come back, they go and make them a duplicate. And we've had them do that for this building. And so I've had to change the locks before, I haven't changed. So,
Well, I mean, I like Katie's idea too, if you just have like a set date that's the same reoccurring, you know, that way you know, like, okay, I need to do this on this day and it'll be open.
what do you think, Chief?
The key thing, just like you said, I don't think would work, but I have been thinking about this because at the end of the day, you know, I do have cameras over there. The problem is when you don't, like, I don't go inspect the pile all the time. If I see a garbage bag, I'll go rip it open, and it's usually brush or limbs. There's a lot of...
But they can't put them in, so that's part of what they're saying, the plastic.
That's right. So that is where that come from, but you wouldn't know unless you opened it, but it's still wrong. But there's a system, and, you know, everything costs money, but you could put an electric gate there that I could control from the police department, and when somebody wanted to go, they could come to me, and then I could say, okay. And then they're on camera, or cameras are already there until they leave, and then when they leave, the gate shuts behind them. Or you could put a little speaker box, they're not that expensive, that they could dial a number, and it would call, let's say it called me on my cell phone or whatever, and then I could say, okay, and open the gate, and then I could put my cameras on motion to follow them from the time they're in to the time they're out. Now, those things cost money, and I, you know, I can concur with folks here, but just like yesterday, I was at the police department, and I watched 5 big trucks loaded with lumber on the left-hand side. Well, when I stood out there in the thing, it was getting dark, and they come back by, they didn't have lumber on the right-hand side of their trailer. All that would have been done there, because all of their truck, they come from Lebanon, they come here to dump it. Now, there was a lot of wood, but there was a lot of other stuff that can't be dumped there on the other side of it that you couldn't see.
But this thing is designed to be used only for the people of Watertown.
Yes, I understand that.
I mean, I'm not, but I know people are taking advantage of that too.
That's 100% correct, because even when we had the shingles, or when that stuff was found, that I went back, and it had to be 30 days before, because we only, you know, financially, we could say, hey, this hard drive is for this. 6 of the 8 people that are on camera were not from Watertown. Like, I know everybody's car in Watertown City limits. You know, I'm not saying that bad, I'm just saying, I just think that, you know, if we get an electric gate, yes, it's expensive.
What will it cost?
I'd say you could probably get a whole system for under $10,000.
Oh, Lord.
It may not be that much, though, it may be $5,000, but it's expensive.
But it's a good goal to have.
I think that it's possible, like the person who put brush in the trash bag didn't know that they should have, to put a sign on the fence that says, you know, this is what's acceptable, nothing else will be accepted.
Yep.
Zero
I
trash
agree with
bags.
that.
Since there's going to be a fence,
Agree.
having the information there
Yep.
helps you know whether people are not doing the right thing because they don't know.
It needs
or trying
an
to get by.
initiative too. There's a fine for,
Yeah.
if you're found doing X,
Yeah,
Y,
for
Z.
sure.
If I like that sign idea, and if we put on there, the second Saturday of every month, it will be open from noon until 5, because you want the morning to work. And then, as a council member, back to my community, I would be willing to sit over there 2 months out of the year, if we all took 2 months. We're giving back to our community who voted us in this spot. I mean,
I think you need somebody who can say with authority no to somebody who's like.
so we
I'm
give,
not
we
doing
pay
it.
extra, we give part-time then, I mean, we pay, not part-time, what am I trying to say? We pay overtime. I would be willing to vote for that once a month. But if we give, and if it's raining, I'm sorry, you better wait till next month, I mean.
Right, or come
If somebody has brush in their yard, and we say we're gonna be open on the first day of the month, and they cut their brush on the 3rd, they're not gonna wait till the next first of the month.
Well,
I mean,
that's
they're wanting to take it right then, they want it out of their yard. So I like the idea of a gate, I like the idea of the fence, I'm okay with a sign. Now, how do we keep people that are not, you know, everybody here ought to have the right to use that. I don't have any problem with that. But if we've got people driving from other places, it's just like out here at the convenience center. It's very plain. You're not supposed to dump there unless you live in Wilson County or your car tags say Wilson. One out of every 3 cars that goes in there will have Smith or Rutherford or whatever on there. And we let them dump. And you know who pays for that?
We do.
The city taxpayers do. Because we pay a tipping fee when we bury it. You're gonna have people abuse it, but I'm like Caleb. I think we gotta do something to make it accessible. So this may be something, Lord, I hate to say this, but this may be something we have to visit again and again. But what about putting up the fence that Steve has donated to us with the gate, not an electric gate, but with the gate? We'll do a PR push here that it's gotta be brush, and you can't even put it in it's got to be loose brush. And see what happens. And I'll send it to the state, saying that's what we're doing.
Well, Home Depot and Lowe's, they do sell these big, like old grocery bags that are paper.
I like the deal for nothing but brush.
Right, well, you can do
Yeah, I
nothing
mean,
but brush.
don't even put nothing in there.
At some point in time, you gotta pick that brush up to put it into something.
Yeah.
Right,
So just pick it up, put it on your trailer and put it over here and throw it off.
Because
Right.
otherwise you don't know what's in the bag.
and you clearly state, no plastic, no metals.
Nothing but brush.
bagged.
Bob Morgan's gonna love you, all this stuff you brought up tonight. You know what he's gonna say tomorrow, I'm gonna get the benefit out of it.
Yeah, but I think it's important.
I'm cutting up with it. I do too. Although I get frustrated and I just want to shut it down, but that's not a good. All right, let's try it. Are we okay on trying that?
I guess we're.
Put up the fence, put up the gate, not electric gate, but and we'll put up some type of homemade sign over there for the time being. And,
I'm sure.
And-
That would help us out there.
Our biggest struggle is still
Or what?
gonna be trying to keep people out at night.
Yes.
Right? Just
Yeah.
because they're trying to tear the gate down. How can we deter
John,
that?
John has some.
There is a commenter that would be willing to volunteer one weekend a month to monitor the dumping on a Saturday from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m.
okay, we
Well,
might take
that's
them
not,
up
that's
on
when
that.
I'm cutting.
Make
In
sure
the
you get their
morning.
name. Those are prime times on the weekend for resting. Okay. Can I have a motion to do that? And I'll send that to the
And
state.
are we gonna open it at any point right now?
Well,
Because we already, I thought, had a few days, like Wednesday and Saturday, I thought we already did it.
Time frame.
okay.
The gate's already up, so.
The gate's up, the fence is over there on the ground,
Okay.
waiting for Bob and them
What
to have
time,
time.
what time do y'all want it open?
What are we doing now? I thought we had one day a week and one Saturday right now, don't we?
What I heard was
Wednesday and Saturday.
I think that's what we already have, it's supposed to be.
I was told you that I called the city guy, and the city guy will open it, and it has to be during the workday, because they're very busy, and then I called today, because I've got a trailer loaded, and they wouldn't, or yesterday, but they wouldn't do it, because they wanted to have this meeting, so I don't think we actually have anything now.
Right. I thought we did that
I'm piled
a long
up.
time ago.
We
Yeah, but
did
it's not
until that happened.
Well,
And
once
then
we
we
got
shut
the
it
letter,
down.
it
Okay.
got shut down.
Yeah, we used to do Wednesday and Saturday.
And how do we control Saturday?
The police department unlocked it and locked it back. I mean, nobody was monitoring, they just locked it, did the chain and undid the chain on Saturday.
Chain is destroyed.
Yes.
Does your camera get that gate?
Yes, but it's not a close-up. The close-up camera, when all this happened, I zoomed in on the pilot set.
But if someone goes through there, you got it.
But it only keeps it for a certain amount of time, and that's what the other problem was.
So you're looking for a motion to
I am.
tell the city, or what's tell the state?
Do what?
You're looking for a motion just to tell the state that we're.
Yeah, tell us.
I'll make a motion that we're trying to alleviate the situation.
Well,
But with the installation of a fence,
Installation of a fence. I know Saturday, I know people work Monday through Friday, but Saturdays are open for abuse, folks. I mean,
What? I didn't understand. Saturdays or what?
a lot of people out traveling around on Saturday, it's open for abuse, for more people coming from out.
People coming from Lebanon and
For people
whatnot.
that work, that's the only time I can get over there.
You don't want to do it on Sunday?
No.
You know what?
You don't want to have it open on Sunday? I think we have to have somebody there when it's open.
Yeah, I think, and I would agree with you on that. It's part of our problem is,
So I gotta pay somebody to stay over there?
Yes.
well,
I can't vote for that.
No,
I'll
well-
vote to shut it down.
okay, but Laura had mentioned, I mean, I will take a Saturday afternoon. If we leave it open limited days, we can.
Wait a second now, y'all think about this a minute. Y'all don't carry guns. I mean, you may have a private carry, but you're not authorized to do it for the city. But what if somebody comes in there and says, I'm gonna dump trash, and you say you can't, so I'm dumping it anyway, gates open. We're not in a position
I
to
call the cops.
Got a mean right hook.
Huh?
Got a mean right
I mean,
hook.
that's, I would call him.
I mean,
Not him, but
yeah, you'd have to
As a volunteer, you think it's be too dangerous for someone that's gonna say.
I do, and I don't, look, I'm gonna say, it, and y'all get after me if you want to. But we're doing this as an accommodation to our citizens. We don't have to make it at the most convenient time.
Yeah.
If they wanna use it when we have it open. But we don't have to, well, I drink coffee from 9 to 10 on Saturday morning, so I'll bring mine in before I go drink coffee. We don't have to accommodate that. There's nothing wrong with accommodating that. But why don't we just set a time and say, it's gonna be open, and this is when you can come bring your stuff.
If they can't bring it over, they can get somebody else to bring it for them.
Yeah. And
I mean, it's some way getting it there.
I don't want to sound unreasonable, but
we're still getting to where who's gonna sit over there during that time.
well, only thing I know to do is to open it at a time when the city employees are on the job and have it open for 3 or 4 hours in the morning or whatever, and they can unlock the gate and go back and lock it at a certain time.
So when they go back and lock it, they need to go and monitor it, so if something's dumped illegal, they can automatically get with the cameras. Because apparently it was being abused even when our time was
Okay, well,
being allowed there, right?
Yeah. If we say we're gonna open it up Wednesday afternoons from 12 to 4, because the guys get off at 4:30, right?
Yeah.
We could do that every Wednesday. And Chief Henderlight, we'd have to get in the habit of on Thursday mornings checking the cameras to see what kind of activity we had the previous Wednesday.
What's wrong with Saturday?
Having to pay somebody, or if you put somebody over as a volunteer, they have no authority.
Right, no, I said that too. I agree with that. But, Wednesday afternoon, I mean, working people,
I am one.
me too.
I understand.
And elderly people can't bring their own brush, need to. Once a month, 4 hours or whatever it is, maybe that's a reasonable expense to provide a service. It's frustrating. I'm furious that people can't act right.
And that's where the problem is,
It
obviously.
is.
All right, somebody make a motion. I can make one that you won't like.
I make a motion, we put fence up, the gate, lock it, have it open from 12 to 4 on Wednesday, and if the people got trash, limbs, they'll carry them over there. If they don't have them, they won't. And it'd be just for Watertown, and make a note on the sign that, for Watertown citizens only.
Is there a second to that motion?
Nobody's gonna, who's over there policing it though? To know it's just Watertown people.
It's,
I mean, we're still gonna have people going over there and abusing it on Wednesdays.
You know, everything y'all named is a problem, the easiest way to deal with it is shut it down.
yeah.
The easiest way
I
to
know,
do it.
unfortunately, I know.
If you do that though, what will be done when people still just drive over there and go over there anyway? Because that's
Well,
what
if you-
happened.
At the end of the day, if you put non-law enforcement over there, what can you say? And what can you do? I don't mean that ugly, but, I mean, you can say, well, I carry a gun, well, okay. Everybody else does it, come to there too. And they're not gonna listen. Now, if you put the police over there and it's on government property, which it is, then we can say, hey, take the city driver's license to dump it. But the problem with that is like, it's so tight now that I'm probably gonna have to go 4 days a week. Because when I get here at 8 o'clock, sometimes I don't leave till 8 or 9 o'clock, and I don't mean that negative. But if you can't afford, and this is not anything bad, if you can't pay me to be here 5 days a week, working 10 or 11 hours a day, what I feel I need to be, then you can't afford to put somebody over there to monitor that, because they would strictly, whoever you put over there would have to be the one not answering calls.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, we vote to close it, so be it. But I'm just saying, what are we gonna do as far as this EPA or whatever when they still drive over there and they dump it even though we're not open?
At the end of the day, we run the citation for it.
Well, why can't we do that now? Like
Because
what? That doesn't
nobody's
change.
monitoring it, because nobody's monitoring it.
But they're not gonna monitor if we close it. That's what I'm saying. Like, what are we gonna do differently?
Fence in the gate, right?
What?
Hang on a second.
Fence in the gate.
Hang on a second, I appreciate everybody, but let me see if I can get a second to the motion. And if we don't get a second, then we're back to discussion. If we do get a second, we're back to discussion. But is there a second to the motion?
I'll make a second to the motion for Wednesday afternoons. Fully realizing we're gonna have to readdress this again, but
I'm scared to death we're gonna be discussing this every month for the next year.
Yeah.
I can hardly wait. But, I'm being a little facetious here. I want to keep it open too. But.
it's not a perfect
Let me
solution,
tell
but
you, when this man or his staff, his officer writes a ticket, they don't ask the person, when can you come to court?
yeah,
They tell them when they're gonna come to court.
Your
And
former
it's up
temper
to,
was the same
it's
way.
same way as me. If I wanna go to the hardware store, he's got hours. And I can go then. If I want something at 9 o'clock at night, I can go the next day. But he doesn't have to accommodate me 24 hours a day. Same way with us. We work here from 7:30 to 4:30. If you got city business, you know when to come over here. And I know everybody works, but I don't see a problem putting a limit on it. And I'm all right with putting a limit on it. And I'll would even go further, guys, than one afternoon a week, maybe 2 afternoons a week. And maybe Monday and Thursday or something, so you got some space there. You got Monday after the weekend, and you got Thursday 3 days later. I don't know why I picked Thursday instead.
And I like that, but who's gonna monitor it? I think we're
It's-
still gonna be in the same position.
But again, what do we do if we monitor it? What do we catch it? What if you were over there and you say, you can't dump, and they say, see you.
I
I'm
would
going
just
over and
call
dump.
them, I'd call
Yeah, but they're
them.
gonna be gone by then.
I think
And
they're
he's
tagged
already
out
said
there.
we've got one officer on duty.
Right.
Do we want them over there monitoring trash?
No.
And I think our biggest problem, honestly, isn't the time that it's open. It's times like right now that someone's over there.
I think
Right.
you're right.
I agree.
think that's our biggest problem. I don't know how you connect that problem unless you work to close it and block off the area where someone can't get in there.
But
So I don't
that's
know any
what
other
this
way
is
to
gonna
fix
do.
it.
well, with the measures that have already been taken with the gate, and if we get the fence up, that's gonna help. And we're not gonna be able to monitor it, so we're gonna have to, if we're gonna leave it open, we're gonna have to pick a time, whether it be 1 afternoon or 2 afternoons a week, where the city can open it and close it, and go with that.
All right, let's go a step further. We'll put the fence up, put a sign on the gate, We'll open it 2 afternoons a week from 12 to 4, and the other times by appointment. If you want to call and say, hey, can somebody open the gate for me? And if there's somebody there that can, we'll do it.
That sounds reasonable.
Reasonable, okay.
And that way we're accommodating, hopefully as many people as we can. Will we accommodate 100% of people? No. So, and then, Steve, I'll send this in if it passes, but then we'll have to revisit it. I know we will. And I wish really we could, well, I was thinking about the electric gate, but I can't go there tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. How you feel about that?
Sounds good.
Somebody make a motion. I can't do it.
So I'll just,
You want to take yours back and do it?
I'll take my motion back, and we'll change it to two afternoons.
All right. Which afternoon do you want?
Monday and Thursday.
Monday and Thursday.
Put up the fence, put up the gate, and other times by appointment.
Right. Sounds good.
Is there a second to that?
I'll make a second.
Okay. I'm scared to death to ask for more discussion, but I will. You ready to vote? Yeah, okay.
You know, you could charge a small fee to somebody who requires an appointment.
Yeah, I don't really want to do it as a thank you though, but I don't really want to do it as a revenue rate. I want to, it's like you said at the very start, there's 1 or 2 people causing a problem. And if we can weed them out somehow, this will go away. Yeah. And maybe in all honesty, we have to write a ticket to somebody. Somebody has to be the sacrificial lamb. And then put the word out and say, hey, we are writing tickets.
If it's posted, no
You're
trespassing.
supposed to fine
That's
it. X marks the spot where the fine is for doing what you're not supposed to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
It's something-
$250 for.
We have an ordinance that we can do it, I just want to make sure that we make sure in the language that it's a white sign with black writing.
Are you being serious?
Yeah, that's.
Is that what it's
that
required?
makes it- It's just like
I thought.
speed limit signs.
Yeah, Rick,
They're black and white.
All right, all right. White sign and black writing. What about a black sign with white writing?
No, sir.
You know, that's the old zebra argument. Is the zebra white with black stripes or black with white stripes? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I ain't calling for no more discussion. I vote aye too. Okay, we'll meet on the 17th. I'm sure we'll revisit this, but I'm glad it seemed, and we'll send it to the state and show we're making an effort. Couple of items, offices will be closed for Thanksgiving Day and the 29th. Next regular meeting date, we've already talked about the 17th. Chief has already mentioned about the reporting on Coffee with a Cop and Halloween festivities. Appreciate that. Has anybody heard what day the Christmas parade is?
December 7th,
December 7th?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Yeah. I know you got that shirt on. You be playing in that game too. He wore that shirt, Hal, just to rub it in on me, a Georgia Bulldog shirt. Yeah. And,
I wear my shirts win or lose.
you most likely will be in that game. All right, let's go around the table. Ms. April? Caleb?
Nothing.
Cal? Laura?
I'm good.
Steve?
Very quick update, just so everybody know.
Yes.
The mayor, you're signing our closing documents on the lots in Industrial Park on Thursday morning or Thursday afternoon.
Thursday afternoon at 1.
At 1. After you sign, Cherokee Steel is signing a 2:30 timeframe. And technical plating, due to scheduling conflicts, they will be signing Monday morning at 10 or 10:30.
One thing that just occurred to me, Steve, and I don't know why it didn't, but April's got to sign as well. She has to attest my signature, the mayor and the city
Okay.
recorder have to sign.
Well,
Yeah, but they're closing at Lee and Lee. Well, you can open the gate if you're here all the time.
well,
We gotta have a little fun.
well,
We gotta have a little fun.
Then he'll be
okay.
mad because I can't pay the water bill.
She, if it's,
So Mike, you're signing at 1 on Thursday.
Mhm.
I can come at lunch.
okay, I'll just meet you over there at 1.
I was gonna say, if you can be there at the same time as Mike, that'd be good, because I think she put you on the schedule for 1 and 1:30, because there's 2 sets of documents.
Yeah, but he won't take that, but if you'll take your lunch hour during that time or whatever.
And I will notify Cindy
Okay.
that the document's gonna need to be updated for 2 signatures.
Yeah, Have you seen them? They may already have.
They emailed them today, and I emailed a copy to,
Okay.
of the
yes.
settlement agreement.
She has to sign, just like this resolution tonight, she has to sign it.
Right,
As
well,
well as I do.
the settlement statement that was emailed this afternoon only had a place for your signature, so
Okay.
they'll need to update those documents
Yeah.
for the city recorder to also sign.
She'll take care of that. You just tell her.
Yeah, I'll let her know in the
Because
morning.
they've done deeds for us in the past.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that was it for me.
Anything else?
No, that was it.
All right. Been a good meeting. I was told I was having pork chops tonight, but I guess that's out of the question. Be cold pork chops anyway.
Make a motion to adjourn.
There you go. See y'all